foldover cards, we're gonna start with your 12 by 12 sheet of green paper. We're gonna fold it directly in half. You can use a bone folder if you want. I'm just gonna use my fingers right now. Now you're gonna cut it into 3 sections of 4 inches each. So we're going to, with it folded, we're gonna cut at 8 inches, and then again at 4 inches. So they'll all be the same size. This will create your 3 foldover cards for your layout. I did that earlier, so I'm gonna pull that aside if I can grab them, and then we'll put together the interior parts, which are these 3 color green, and also these little tabs. So I did, you can do them any way you want, but I did it so the polka dots were on the outside and I had the triangles on the inside. So let's get started on that. Okay. So as you guys can see, you know, some of my little tips and tricks that I do. This one is a sticky note just to keep everything on there. It's a plain old ordinary sticky note that I put my little pieces on so I wouldn't lose them and I could locate them easily. And then if they drop on the floor, they all drop together and it's not some tiny piece. So we've got the lime green, the more of a avocado kind of color, and we also have the pink. So it doesn't matter which way you do these. So I'm going to take my first fold over card. I'm going to open it up and I'm going to put inside of there the pink. Pretty easy stuff here. I'm not going to use a ton of adhesive. Obviously, you can use as much adhesive as you want on these. You can hear a plane going over. Kind of nice being outside. I'm not going to lie. Okay. These are the pre-cut pieces. They're 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. We're just going to, when I line these up, I like to, this is where it folds. I like to look at the bottom and make sure that this space and this space is the same. You don't need to measure it, but you just want to eyeball it to see that it's about the same all the way around. So we're going to repeat that with the other colors. I'll show that to you in a second. For the opening tab, I'm going to take one of each, one polka dot and one of the green triangles. Okay. We're going to put this so it's a tab. You can do it any way you want. If you want the green triangles on the outside, you can do that. I'm going to do it like we did on the layout. So first thing I'm going to do is put, I'm not sure I'm in the frame, a small amount of my liquid adhesive where I want it to go. I kind of want them all the same, so I'm going to put them all in the, I'm using this grid as just a guide for you guys to see approximately. It's approximately like a 1/8 from the bottom. Okay, so you're going to put down on the front where it's going to be the tab, you're going to lay that down. And then on the inside, because we want the detail, I'm going to use some liquid adhesive. I'm going to take my corresponding color. I'm going to line it up. I want to make sure it's all lined up while it's still wet. And just use your finger, just kind of tap it back into space. And there we have the first one. And then we can put that aside. So we're going to move on to the next one. It's the same thing, we just repeat it. for the headline piece, it's pretty straightforward. You can see the pieces that I have laid out here. We have the blue backer, and then everything just kind of like stacks on top of each other. And I'll just show you real quick, but you get the idea. Okay, so we're gonna lay these on. The watermelon has the black that goes behind so you can see the seeds, the rind. The one thing I'm going to tell you guys is, my little tip for this one is that I like to use foam core in order to make things pop up. This is such a big piece. I like to have a big piece of foam core behind it so it doesn't dip down. Sometimes when you have 150 little pop dots, which is perfectly fine, you can absolutely use pop dots if you want. I like to keep pieces of foam core around, my extra pieces, to hold things up. So I'll show you how to do that after we're through building it. So I'm going to take these two pieces and I'm going to put them aside, and I'm going to start building this one. So this is the top piece, so we're going to build that one first. Everything's pre-cut for you. As you can see, everything's separate. However, this one is connected because of the same colors, and we wanted to make sure you guys had them together. So for this one, just two little snips, one right there and one right there, with this little tiny piece of waste. So we just throw that away. So we're going to start with this black backer, and we're going to use the Hello. I'm going to use my detail adhesive again, and I'm just going to put a small amount. You don't need a ton on here. What's great about this glue dispenser is that it's so tiny, you don't waste any glue. And for the most part, as long as you don't squeeze too hard, it does not come globbing out. I would definitely say test it. Test your, like if you haven't used it in a couple days, test your glue on a side piece like this beforehand, just to make sure you don't get a big glob coming out of it. So after the Hello, which is this beautiful little yellow gold kind of color, we're going to put down Summer, which is this pearlescent, which I love. So we're just going to real lightly, again, you don't need a ton of glue, it'll stay. As you can see, I just real quickly put this on. Make sure you get the end of the curly Q so it does not flip up. And then you'll see that it lines up perfectly. Okay, so we're gonna put the Hello Summer right there. Okay, we're gonna pull down our base piece for our headline, which this sunshine fits perfectly into this area. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually take this off. This comes off so that you can have it, you wanna use the cap when you put it away, but this way it's not in your way. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do these little points of the sun, and then we're just gonna real gently go around this. Okay, they line up perfectly. It was made for this. So we're just going to carefully, make sure it's lined up. Okay. So it'll line up perfectly right there. Okay, next thing we're going to do is our watermelon piece. So there's 3 for this, pretty self-explanatory. The pink watermelon glitter goes onto the black, and then it does not touch the black, or the glitter piece, the actual watermelon portion does not touch the rind part. So what I'm gonna do is just put some adhesive on here. I'm gonna go around where the seeds are so that it stays down so we don't have it popping up. Okay. Okay, so you'll see that the black piece fits right underneath it. Okay, so your seeds show through. Now, we're going to put down our little rind, which makes up the rest of the sun, which is kind of cute. Very cohesive. Okay. So your green goes there. And your watermelon sits right on top. Okay. A little bit of more of glue. As you can see clearly on here, this is how my haphazard technique. So you're gonna have, again, a little space between, you're gonna have the blue showing through right there. So for this Hello Summer, I like everything to have dimension. So what I did is I had a little strip of black foam core, just as you can see, it's just kind of what it is. So what I'm gonna do, I'll move this aside. We're gonna put a piece through here. I just buy my foam core from like the dollar store, and I just keep one on hand. It's very easy to cut. But this way you can pop up pieces. You don't have to use 512 Pop Dots, which again, if you like to use Pop Dots, that's great. I find them tedious at times. So in these big sections, I'm just going to use the foam core and put down these pieces basically to bump it up. So for these smaller pieces, just again, this one's like a little over ½ an inch. So just cut them. It's a little bit more firm than using the Pop Dots, and it gives me the lift that I want. And it's just as easy. Those birds are just tweeting away. Okay. Super duper easy. And honestly, it's a good use of scraps, which I love. Because everybody has foam core sitting around. And they're always weird shapes. Okay. So once I have that done, I'm going to show you guys. So you can see on this one, I just used tape on this one. So see how it sits up? It'll be fine being flat, but I like it that it gives a little bit more dimension, a little bit more life. So I'm gonna move my little sticky note. Now all you have to do is go along these. You don't have to peel off those backs of all of those Pop Dots. And then we're gonna line it up. And it's done. So we have our 3 cards. They can go in any order. The stripes we have going on a horizontal. And this is the hose piece that goes on the bottom. Let me take this second piece out real quick. Okay. I love the colors with this one. Okay, so we're gonna dry fit it down. You can do it as high or as low as you want. You can add elements up here if you want. We're gonna put it right about here. So you can see this green line, we're gonna use that as our baseline. And we're gonna put about 4 in between. So I'm just gonna go ahead and stick these down. If you do not have vertical pictures, you can do it horizontally. There's no wrong way to do this. I'll put those in my little garbage can. So if you want to do them this way and then put your tabs maybe on this side, you could do that. But I'm going to do it like we did on the layout or on my sample layout, and I'm going to lay it down. Because this has stripes already on it, we're going to use it as our guide, but just make sure that it's straight, because if it's not, because of those dots, you'll be able to tell that it's really off. And that makes for a weird, wonky layout. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna do about 4 dots in between. You can do whatever you want. And just lay it down so that they look approximately right. I did the lime and the lime, the avocado, I guess avocado and the lime color. And then your hose is going to go approximately in this area. The nozzle portion of the hose does get cut off, but we're gonna lay it on this layout for the right-hand side with the header so that when it lines up, it looks cohesive and it looks seamless. So I'm going to just put some adhesive on my hose. I love this because it like makes you think of, well, it makes me think of, I guess I shouldn't speak for everybody, just what summer means to me. It's just fun. There's light colors, you know, the hose, you know, harkens back to sprinklers back in the day and running through those and having such a good time and just enjoying summer. Okay, so that is the left-hand page. I realize that there's a space here. Please know that is the correct way to do it. So that said, we're gonna take your other dot, 12 by 12. I'm gonna slide this one over. I'm going to put it right next to it. Okay? I'm actually gonna flip it around. You can see on this paper that there's a darker edge on this side and a lighter edge on this side. When I put this layout together, the darker edge is in the middle. So it just kind of has a more cohesive kind of thing rather than it looking like the pages are different. And you can do it the opposite way if you'd like. Okay, so for the hose, this is the nozzle portion of it. I am going to put some pop dots on the back of this. Okay, the portion that we're going to end up cutting off is going to be, let me move this aside. I'm gonna lay it in there. I did not take the sticky off. It is not sticky, or the backers off. So I'm going to lay this in this general area so that we can cut along this line. So when it's in our book, that you will see it'll look seamless for this. So I am going to take the pop dots off. Probably would be a little easier if you just laid it flat. You know what? I'm going to lay it flat for the sake of argument. And maybe a couple of people's sanity. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stick down. We have both of the papers butted up together. We want this to look like it's connected, not like it's in some weird formation. Okay, we're going to do that. And then I'm going to take off a couple of the pop dots so it lays down. I know the part that I laid flat is going to stick. It'll just make your life easier to cut it. I'm going to use an X-Acto because it's going to be a little easier. So we're going to cut along that line. Okay? So that it lines up perfectly. This little glitter piece fits into that area right there. Just a little accent piece. Okay? We're going to stick that in there. Now, your headline piece that you made goes in this area. We're going to dry fit these into place. This card will go, we have 3, I like things to be a little bit more balanced. So, I'm going to lift this up a little bit. So we're going to do 3 dots, and as you see, the green lines up with the pink because I flipped the paper over. So your pink, or your green is going to turn into a pink line as you go across here. So I'm going to quickly put this one into place. Again, we're noting that three dots here, 3 dots here, following the line across. Okay? And lay it into place. Okay? The hose is going in this general direction. There's no wrong way to do this. This might be a little bit different than what I had on the original, but that's okay. Different is good. So, now we're going to get rid of the left-hand side because we're all through with that. It's cohesive across. He can go over here. We're going to move this one into play. We do not have this down. You can put this up here. One of the problems it would be if you had it up here is opening and closing of this piece. So let's keep it here, down at the bottom, for the sake of argument. Okay, the pieces that go to this side is going to be the blue piece. We put it together, and so you'll see the shimmery, it's kind of got an iridescent look to it, of the hose. Oop, got some stuff moving over here because the glue didn't fit. What's cute about this one is it goes over this. You can change the hose however you want it to work for what you've got going on. So we are going to put it in this general area. You can put journaling in here. You can put anything you want. Obviously, pictures is the easiest answer for that one. So I'm going to put this. I'm just going to use a little bit of glue. Obviously, use more glue. Okay. You want it to be coming out of the hose. So we're going to go kind of in this area. If you want, you can, I'm going to do a little bit of a jiggity jaggedy. You can cut to mimic what the water is going to look like. So just cut some V's. Those are very easy to do because the water stream is not exact. So I am going to make them very uneven. But it gives it a little bit more personality. My glue is sticking together, my adhesive. So we're gonna get rid of those, maybe. Okay, and now we're gonna stick our water, which is super cute. And then we have our detail of the water actually coming out of the hose, just like when you were little and you ran through the sprinkler. Like I said, this one's a little bit different than what I had on the actual original layout, but that's okay. Different is good. It's your layout. Make it what you want it to be. So that gives a little extra surprise. So you get these little droplets. They're really, really awesome. They do not have adhesive on it. So, and there's no wrong way to do this. So what I'm going to say is figure it out. Again, this is on a sticky note to keep them together so we don't lose them. So what I'm going to do is a couple liquid adhesive dots. Okay. I want the biggest one, doesn't really matter where they go. I'm going to do the biggest one right here. Okay. Do you see where that's at? The next size down, I'm going to do right here. Okay, I have another one here, so I'm going to do the teeny tiny one over here. Okay, it'll dry clear, you'll be good. I mean, the best part of summer is about getting the hose out, whether you're washing the car, washing the dogs, running through the sprinkler, you know, just says summer. Okay, another trick with these is if you lightly lick your finger, you can lift it up and drop it on there. Okay. For the final idea tip for this headline, we've already popped it up once. If you like to have things popped up like I do, I have some bigger pieces of foam core. It does not, you can tell but from mine, it's not a perfect shape. So I just hacked off a piece and it's about 3.5 by 4 inches. But what you want to do is make sure it's all hidden underneath the big headline piece. But like I told you before, that's so it doesn't have a dip like you sometimes get when you have all those pop dots. So I'm going to put the big one on top of underneath the headline. And then this smaller one, I'm going to cut a little bit smaller because it doesn't quite fit. It's close. So you can just easily cut that off. And I'm going to put it in this area so it doesn't dip down. Okay, so both of those are done. So I'm going to bring my 12 by 12 back over. I'm going to look at where I want to have it. I'm going to do it about here. You have room, you can do something else if you have a cute embellishment or something else that you want to put on here. If you went to a concert, you can use this for a concert. That'd be really cute. Mega Meat Gnome, special edition Mega Meat Gnome. And I'm going to show you how to build that real quick here. Like everything else, we're just going to cut them apart. So we're going to cut apart his hands. He's real easy to put together. This is actually available again online. We found some extras that we had stored away. So if you did not get yours, if we sold out of it, please go to our website and you can get yours today. And as you can see, it's the Mega Meat 2023, which is super cute. So if you attended and you want just a little extra little souvenir from the event, we have them available. So we have our parts here and we're going to start building them just like we build everything else. So we're going to start, here's his feet. We're going to add some pop dots to the bottom part of his shirt because the shirt naturally will come away from the feet. Give it some dimension. I can hear all my little birds outside. They're very happy. We're crafting outside today. So for the nose, you'll see there's a textured side and that there's a smooth side. We're going to put the pop dot on the textured side. I'm going to take the backing off and just put them on the side right now. The beard, again, same thing. We're going to put some pop dots on it. I usually, when I do the beard, I actually pull it away from what the clothing is. If you like it to be flat, you can absolutely do that. But I like to have a little bit of depth. Got all sorts of things going on nature-wise. You can hear the little birds in the background. So I'm going to lay them down right here. I'm not going to take off all the pop dots. I'm just going to take off a few. The next thing we're going to put on is going to be the hat, which goes approximately right there. I'm going to use my detail glue, which is new for us. It's just a small container. It's got this little tiny nib on it, which is pretty fantastic. It has a lid, if I can figure out which way it goes. it goes this way. You put your favorite glue in there. Mine is, if I can get it to go, mine is just a Tombow glue. Okay, maybe it won't go. There we go. Just need a little help getting started. So just use a little bit on the edge of the hat. This hat goes down just slightly. You can see where it kind of hits on both sides of his beard. So we're gonna lay that down. And the nose that we did earlier, it just goes where they connect. The blue hat and the white beard connects. So far we have that. So the next thing we're gonna do is put on his hands. There's actually two parts of the hands, or the flesh that's holding these. Okay, the pinkies go up, so that goes on each side of this. I'm gonna trim this one just a little bit. The lighter goes on top, and that's what's holding the side. So the first thing we're going to do is actually put on the hands. It's a little easier on the bigger pieces just to pick that up rather than trying to do it backwards. Okay, so you can see he's kind of coming together. Okay, so for these, it's supposed to look like his hands are holding the sign. So we're going to put a little bit of glue on each side of his little mitt there. And we're going to put that one there with his pinky up. And this one here. Okay, so we're almost done. Okay, your kit will include this fiber, which mine is tied in a knot already. You can do this any way you want, or you don't have to use the fiber that's included. Okay, so we're going to put him approximately here. So how we're going to do that is, we just want it to look like it's a banner that he's holding on to. So what I'm going to do is just loosely, singularly, don't pull it too tight, put on, I just tied it right here to the 3, so that when he's holding it, that it's sticking into his hand. I have 3 dogs, and they like to run after various creatures in the yard. Okay, so what we're gonna do, you see right here, I'm gonna pull it in a little closer. We're gonna put a little tiny slice between what is the thumb and the index finger on both sides. And I'll show you why. Because we're gonna tuck that ribbon, or the fiber, right into that. You won't even see it. We're also gonna glue down the Mega Meat portion, the glitter part. You could also just glue it down if you want, if you feel more comfortable. But this looks like he's really holding on to it. Okay. So there's that side. I'm gonna put, like I said, put a little bit of tack in the middle when I'm done. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. And we're just gonna do a loose, just hook it around the M, nothing exciting or technical here. I'm gonna make my loop to hold it on. I'm going to attach that. You should have more than enough fiber for this. And then I'm going to take those 2 stems, and I'm going to tuck it through his little hand.